moving from hierarchies to networks, the real meaning of digital transformation. I'm Tonya Hall for ZDNet and Tech Republic, and joining me is Rick McNabb. He is the chairman and CEO of Optimity Advisors. Welcome, Rick.
Hi, Tonya. Happy to be here.
So tell us about Optimity Advisors. What exactly do you do?
Optimity Advisors is a transformation company now faced with the words digital transformation. So not only is Optimity Advisors continuing to help our clients do great work in transforming their businesses, we're also transforming ourselves as a business for the digital era.
Digital transformation is a broad and fairly generic term. What does it mean to you as a business leader?
Wow. To me, it's one of the most misunderstood names and titles out there today. Digital is about the digital era. So it's about all the social, not only business, but social changes out there. It is a new era, just like the information age was the prior era. And there's many dynamics in this era that are going to impact business. So our mission from a digital transformation perspective is to bring those issues to business. There's a whole suite of new tools, techniques, things that you can do today that we couldn't do 10 years ago. And businesses really need to awaken to the fact that due to the speed of change today and the capabilities, even down to the low cost of new entrants into the marketplace, your competition's changing at radical speeds now, is to get businesses to awaken to the fact that that they need to evolve their business or be, an old word we used to use was be disintermediated quickly. And this is an era that we've never seen quite like this. I actually will contend that half the world is still asleep. So part of our job at Optimity is to awaken the client base and start the dialogue.
Tell us about the dawn of the second human epoch. I mean, how are hierarchies giving way to networks?
Wow. Networks, I don't know what the root cause factors, but let's put it this way. The world works in networks today. The people coming to the offices today prefer networks over hierarchies. And I can look at the results. When you look at the impact of, say, networks create collective intelligence, for example, the world's problems are getting much more complex. And networks seem to have a better and faster ability to react and solve those problems. I can't tell you exactly what caused the change, but it started with maybe from the technology industry when we started carrying iPhones. When I had every bit of information in the world in the palm of my hand, that's a network. That was the democratizing of our planet, actually. So that's become a part of our culture, but you get better results from it. Now, networks aren't easy to manage. So businesses have to be cautious because you can go from hierarchy to networks and have, chaos from over-empowered networks. So there's ways to manage them. And I think right now, from a business perspective, we're learning the pros and cons and how to best work with them. But there's a lot of behavioral research out there that talk about the power of networks and why they're important. I'll leave it at that. But collective intelligence is the result of that. Better collective intelligence.
Human organization and culture evolved at the speed of the first epoch, a speed determined by hierarchy. Information and value move through networks much faster than through hierarchies. So will we reach a point when the network moves faster than humans? Will artificial intelligence assisted living become a requirement at that point?
So I study Ray Kurzweil, and there's several other authors out there on this subject. So the answer is yes, okay? But I want to start, and I'm trying to start a dialogue about what's coming. What's coming, and I'm talking about the next 30, 40, 50 years, is humanity has a choice here. We could go down a very Orwellian path, or we could go down a path that I think could greatly benefit humanity. My biggest concern right now is we're not having that dialogue. The dialogue we've had up till now has said, you can't stop it. I'm just going to accept what comes to me. And I think that's very dangerous. So at Optimity and some of the other, I'm chairman of several other companies in startup mode and mid-size mode. We're trying to start that dialogue of, you can't stop it, but can you channel it to a better place? And what Kurzweil projects in 30 or 40 years, for humanity to advance, we are going to have to merge. And frankly, you've got the analog version today, the Fitbits, the iPhones, that's the analog version. They contend that we're going to merge with a computer chip in order to continue humans' progression. And he actually contends that we'll create a new humanoid as a result of it, and we're going to have a new whole social dilemma of have and have nots. I think we need to talk about it and see where this goes, but help shape it to benefit humanity. And business owns that, I believe greatly. There needs to be an ethics discussion about how to benefit humanity here.
So as relationships and organizations are digitally transformed, when AI, IoT, and network blockchains form the foundation of all actions and decisions, what happens to individual creativity, spontaneity, and personality? I mean, can we avoid living like bees in a hive?
It should flourish. It should flourish through the power of collective intelligence, the democratization to society of all of this, and not allow, as Kurzweil projected, to create a new being of have and have nots. As long as we can avoid those pitfalls, the world looks bright and encouraging to me. But again, we're not having those dialogues.
So let's talk about the future. I mean, disruption happens when the trends combine and reinforce each other in unexpected ways. So
Yes.
what digital transformation trends do you see emerging in the near future?
Well, the most obvious, and this is what I want business to wake up to. First of all, the speed of change has never been this fast before. So what I tell traditional corporates is you may not have a 5 to 10 year horizon anymore to wake up to what's happening and to adjust yourself. And there's a lot of reasons for that. It is, first of all, the cost of entry is way low today. I have never in my career seen so many startups in my life, and how we're incubating startups now because of the low cost of entry. Therefore, all these tools and techniques and enablements that we've been given right now, you can radically change your business model. And you can look at some of the big boys like Amazon. Amazon started off as a bookseller. They didn't stop at the door of how can I be the best bookseller in the world. Look at their supply distribution channel. I'm not sure what Amazon calls themselves right now, but when you've got Alexa being almost a personal assistant to me to deliver anything I want at just, little energy other than talking to Alexa, she's now listening to me. So I hope she doesn't respond. But, that is a completely radically new business model. And what we're seeing in traditional businesses, not only, I'll just say two trends. Not only does your competition come out of nowhere, but that your business model could be disrupted without you knowing it. When you look at the world of digital and everything's going to be digitized, social and business behaviors, most companies are not prepared for that today. So even if they wake up and recognize it today, a lot of them have a lot of cleanup work, a lot of foundational work just to get ready for it. I was with a major financial services provider the other day, and they said, Rick, we're not even a fast follower. We're kind of laggards. And we had a long talk about that. And I said, that may not work. If you take 5 years to get ready for it, because you can't build on this without a solid foundation. You look at AI, for example. AI requires a lot of stuff underneath to make it work. That takes effort today to prepare for. So again, I'll say we are talking to companies today to build their awareness and get them to start talking about who they want to be in this new world, because competition will change, speed is changing, business models are changing, enablements are changing. It's all changing quickly.
You established, probably certainly in the tech community, a well-known fact that there are a lot of startups out there. And so that said, what challenges does digital transformation pose then to the individual entrepreneur or a small startup?
Actually, I think they've never been better positioned to start. I actually think the market has enabled an easy way for them to start. And I'll just go through a couple of examples. You can easily, look at simple examples of WeWork, how there's a pre-built place where you can drop into a pre-existing ecosystem in order to help your business incubate. You can promote your business. You can get funding more easily for your business. You can get tremendous talent out there, either physically or virtually today, to get your ideas incubated. So the startup world is doing very, very well. And again, the cost of entry for a startup is very, very low. So if you have a great idea, it's not hard to get people to follow you, get your funding, get an ecosystem there to support you, and get attention. And so they're great. I would worry about the corporates and the middle tier businesses more right now. And I'll give you an example. In the old world, corporates used to be everything to everybody. Okay, I used to work for one. And I'll say this: I was a partner in a Big Four consultancy, and we literally strive to be everything to everybody that we could be. But that takes time. It takes a lot of money and energy and focus, which is great. The world doesn't allow that time today. And actually, the world is changing more quickly than most companies can see. So we would tell the corporates and the middle tiers, start using, there's a couple of terms I want to introduce. The definition around what is a platform and what is an ecosystem. We believe the power of business going forward is to either pick and behave within a platform that has an ecosystem. The value of that ecosystem is where the value of the business is going to be going forward, because ecosystems are more fluid ways to bring different parties together in a living environment, and you can plug and unplug participants in the ecosystem in a very fluid way. Your challenge for corporates to be in an ecosystem is to really understand their core value, their core business model, and not be disintermediated by it. So it requires some strategic thought. But the ecosystems are much quicker. They're more responsive to business needs. And we're now starting to see innovation incubators, as an example, starting to produce ecosystems where corporates can come in and change themselves and be more responsive to their consumers.
So, Rick, not every business leader is savvy about technology. In fact, they may even be slightly intimidated. So, what advice do you have for executives who might be intimidated by the idea of digital transformation?
Free yourself of your filters, and experiment. The first roadblock is getting out of your hierarchical thinking, because most traditional CEOs say, I'm here because it's all about my knowledge, and that knowledge turns into a fear factor when you don't understand it. Your first issue is to go to a network structure, and maybe that's too strong of a statement, but start to allow your organizations to experiment and become learning organizations. Let me give you an example of a legacy CEO mentality that needs to change. Most CEOs were brought up to believe that the past was the best predictor of the future. You know, McKinsey built their whole strategic planning methodology on understanding the past to project what's going to happen in the next 5 years. That served us very, very well. But in the digital era, the past is not a proxy for the future, because now, for the first time, we're creating radically new business models without any connection to the past. Now, what that does is say you have to change your legacy thinking to what we call emergent thoughts, emergent discovery. You know, it's about discovering and mitigating risk and proving that something I'm going to do that's never been done before can be done. That's a completely different mindset. And the best way to do that is to release yourself to work in a more network collective intelligence environment and trust your people. The organizations that have done that have done very well. And the big players like Google, that's the way they operate every day. But we have to go from historical thinking to emergent discovery thinking and learn how to mitigate our risk going forward in that.
Well, mitigating risk sounds good, and giving advice to like let go and really try to better understand the digital transformation. You've certainly shed some light on that, Rick. If somebody wants to connect with you, maybe they want to find out more about your advisory group or any of the work that you do, how can they do that?
They can reach me by email, and I'm on the web, rick.mcnabb@optimityadvisors.com. And all my contact information is on the web as well.
All right. Thanks again for your time. And if you guys want to find me or more of my interviews, you can do that right here on ZDNet or Tech Republic, or find me by going to my website, tonyahall.net. I've got links to all my social sites. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Tonya.